Part 106. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1051. The note appeared again, if you can spread the word to all the creators and leaders of the nest of life. We are willing to pay for a raw crystal that contains the ultimate spiritual power. After obtaining the original crystal of ultimate spiritual power, you will have the opportunity to step into the fourth spiritual level and condense the supreme and eternal soul. The quality of the soul will be improved to a higher level. This is an orthodox spiritual cultivation method. When Lin Yi heard this, there was a hint of joy in his eyes. Is the original crystal of the eternal soul very precious? This is the original crystal formed by the eternal soul of a being who has mastered the fourth level of spiritual power. Only after death in extreme circumstances can the eternal soul survive. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. This kind of raw crystal can be used to create the ultimate spiritual weapon. For any strong person at the spiritual level, it is equivalent to an additional source of power. At this time, Lin Yi slowly wrote, "This condition is acceptable, but I also want all the information about the spiritual system, including the higher oneness." There was silence for a while before the note appeared again. "Yes, we will also pay you for the information when reinforcements arrive." Lin Yi nodded upon hearing this. "Then tell me now how the reinforcements can reach the end of the endless river." "They need to do this." Rows of fantastic messages and words appeared on the notes. Notes have a wonderful ability to carry countless words and information. It looks only about the size of a palm, but you can write countless words on it if you want. As long as the viewer touches this note, he will know all the information. The Wish Shrine has evolved many times in the strange place. After Lin Yi read all the information above, there was a trace of surprise in his eyes. Going to the front line is not an easy task. You must first make the tools to go to the front line. The tools that need to be crafted are these reapers that suddenly appear. Their bodies are the best tools for crossing rivers. Lin Yi thought for a while, it seems I need to take action personally. Thinking of this, his figure flashed and disappeared into the Wanqi house. When he reappeared, he had completely entered the spiritual level and became a spiritual state. An infinite amount of information bloomed from his body, information blooming in the form of spiritual waves. As long as any strong person at the spiritual level sees this kind of brilliance, they will immediately understand its meaning. At this time, Lin Yi used the spiritual wave to bloom, as if the sun had pierced the entire spiritual level, shining into the hearts of countless beings. In countless life nests, a large number of life forms feel an invisible message appearing in their hearts. They knew things about the endless river front out of thin air. A huge nest of life, shrouded in a fiery red light. A six-armed giant covered in flames sat high on the throne, looking down on his territory. He is the ruler of the flame world, an ancient creator, flame, and everything here was created by him. All the flame beings must contribute their hearts to him in exchange for the qualification to survive. He is the only king here. At this time, the area it controlled was also fighting with black-robed monsters, and countless flame life forms were killed every moment. But everything is still within control. Although these black-robed monsters are powerful, their numbers are much smaller. It is completely incomparable to the flame world he created. After blessing his own power, the beings he created can surround and kill these monsters as long as they have a certain number. However, it also discovered that these black cannon monsters could not really be killed. So he is working on a new method, which is to seal these black-robed monsters. At this time, a legion in his hand had already laid out numerous formations, trapping a monster in it. Borrowing his huge spiritual power, the seal is being constructed. At the same time, some inexplicable information appeared in the hearts of some flame life forms in the flame world. This information was immediately noticed by him, and at the same time, his mind also looked to the spiritual level. A cyan light appeared there, and the information in the hearts of these living creatures came from that light. Yan determined the coordinates the moment he saw this ray of light, but he had no intention of launching an attack or going there. He just watched quietly. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes. This man is so stupid. In order to convey this information, he dared to expose his coordinates on the spiritual level. Is he looking for death? Just as he was thinking, a golden light appeared out of thin air above the cyan light. This golden light shrouded the cyan light, like a huge mouth, seeming to swallow it in one gulp. But something surprising happened. The golden radiance actually passed directly through the cyan radiance, unable to have any impact on it. All the people here were shocked, because they could feel that the golden light was extremely powerful. Simply speaking, it is stronger than the third level of the mind. It seems to be a higher level of spiritual power. But this kind of power was completely useless against that cyan light. Some very ancient beings seemed to recognize the source of the golden light the moment they saw it. They were alert and awed, and they immediately chose to retract their gazes. Because just looking at this golden light could lead to the other party finding them, which was very dangerous. But something even more surprising happened to these ancient beings. The power they revered could not affect the azure light that suddenly appeared. How is it possible? That is the ultimate power of the mind. What is that azure light? It can ignore the influence of the ultimate power of the mind. At this time, the leader of the ancient parliament also saw what happened at the spiritual level. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes. This is Lin Yi from the Wanchaiwu. According to the information I received before, his spiritual power seems to be very special. But it is a bit unexpected that he can get rid of the influence of the ultimate spiritual power. At this time, the golden light at the spiritual level seemed to feel surprised and changed instantly. The light turned into a projection, and a terrifying existence appeared here. It was a golden eye, and the pupil seemed to be burning with endless flames. His eyes fell on Lin Yi, and Lin Yi also looked at this mysterious golden eye calmly. The power of heresy dared to stop the harvest process and needs to be dealt with. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1052. Cold will, without any emotion, just like a robot, cold and ruthless. The next moment, a golden flame gushed out from the huge eyes. This is the flame of the soul. This flame seems to have the characteristic of burning everything. The power of the soul is no exception. Facing the flame coming towards him, Lin Yi did not dodge. Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow dot. He slowly raised his hand, and a radiance of eternal nature flashed in his body, and a universe appeared in front of the clone at the spiritual level. The golden flame was instantly sucked into the universe. Countless rules in the universe rotated, and the rules of the imagination Daohen had no reason to speak of. The golden flame fell into it and was consumed by these rules, and finally became a part of this universe. The imagination Daohen universe completely ignored the suppression of the ultimate spiritual power under the infusion of countless spiritual waves. Under Lin Yi's control, the universe went upstream and crashed into the huge golden eye. The spiritual wave was infused with eternal properties, directly creating a real imaginary Dao trace universe at this spiritual level. However, in Lin Yi's eyes, it can be clearly seen that this imaginary universe is completely composed of spiritual waves, so it can exist at the spiritual level. This is a structure of truth and spiritual waves, with unimaginable power. The huge golden eye seemed to burst into great anger facing the oncoming imaginary universe. Endless golden flames gushed out, also an attack exerted by the power of the mind to construct a certain eternal nature. The two forces kept colliding, but the result was obviously that the imaginary universe created by Lin Yi was better. The imaginary universe absorbed all the golden flames and hit the huge illusory eye heavily. Rumble. Crack. The huge eye shattered and was all sucked into the imaginary Dao trace, then decomposed and absorbed, and turned into part of the universe. At this time, The imaginary universe also shattered and turned into countless basic particles and disappeared. After Lin Yi defeated the Golden Eye, he turned around and disappeared here. Everything just now was not as simple as he thought. This attack consumed 1/10 of his spiritual wave. The existence behind the golden eyeball had a bottomless power. He just won by surprise. This was his intuitive feeling. He had to take a step ahead while the other party hadn't reacted yet. At the moment he left, an endless golden flame had appeared out of thin air in this coordinate area. These flames burned everything and trembled wildly, as if this dark spiritual level was about to be burned into nothingness. The flames raged for a long time and finally stopped slowly. In the void, several life nests were undergoing strange changes. Their creators were changing their expressions wildly, and it looked like someone was fighting for their bodies. The changes in the spiritual level seemed to have affected this place as well. A golden flame spread out from the bodies of these creators. In an instant, their expressions all became indifferent, and they were all shrouded in golden flames. The golden flames quickly retracted and disappeared into their bodies. These creators returned to their normal appearance, but their eyes became colder and colder, without any emotion. Then, a ray of thought had spread to the life nest they controlled. A figure appeared in the minds of all the life forms in the life nest. Find him. Accompanied by these 3 short words, the life forms in these life nests saw a young human man. This was a life form they had never seen before, but it did not prevent them from obeying the orders of their gods. At this time, Lin Yi had returned to the Wanqi house, and no one would come here in the strange place. Even those behind the scenes at the spiritual level, or the things they controlled, would not come here. The guy who just attacked has a very strong and high-quality spiritual power. The most important thing is that I saw at least 12 eternal properties and constructed characteristics in that ball of golden flame. This high-quality spiritual energy, combined with this characteristic, has the ability to defeat other eternal properties. The eternal nature constructed by my imagination Daohen universe is essentially much weaker than the golden flame principal nature. However, my spiritual wave is essentially higher than the spiritual power of the golden light. The two are superimposed, and I am slightly better in the end, but the consumption of spiritual waves is very large. Behind that golden eye, there should be a certain connection with the mastermind behind the scenes. The power mastered has surpassed the 3rd level of spiritual power and can be called the 4th level. Fortunately, I walked fast, otherwise I would be in big trouble. He looked at the spiritual level, where the spiritual level after the golden light raged seemed to become a little illusory. It seemed that this raging golden flame had a certain impact on the spiritual level. But now the information that reinforcements are needed in the endless river has been projected to the entire void and all the life nests. Those rulers and creators should have received the news. But I don't know what choice they will make. These people will not sacrifice themselves for others, otherwise they would not have been shepherds for so long. Lin Yi's eyes were very clear, and he saw clearly what happened in each life nest. For the creators and rulers of these life nests, they were essentially no different from the masterminds behind the scenes. It's just that their identities changed from harvesters to the harvested. However, as the harvested, they would naturally resist, but their ways of resistance might not be exactly the same. I hope someone will believe the content of the information, build a warship, and go to the end of the long river. Otherwise, once the battle line at the end of the endless long river collapses, I don't know what kind of phenomenon will be triggered. The gray long river that permeated the void fell into Lin Yi's eyes. He could see that the black long river was flowing with an inexplicable river water, filled with an extremely ominous feeling. Maybe no one will go in the end. All life will go to destruction. Selfishness is a common problem of life, and no one can be an exception. Lin Yi took a deep breath, and a trace of solemnity appeared in his eyes. At this moment, a great existence in the dark was approaching at an accelerated speed. All lives raised their heads again, including Lin Yi. The great being who called himself Number had returned so soon. The great being of the beginning of the void was trapped by others of the same period. I wonder how far you are from your former companions now, and what will your return cause? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Xuanhuan Luan Tianji. Chapter 1053. The latest chapter of the Wanchaiwu I Created is updated the fastest. Are your companions the mastermind behind all this? Lin Yi thought with a twinkling look in his eyes. The mysterious existence, Number, with countless lives as coordinates, is about to return here. His arrival aroused a little interest in Lin Yi's heart. The return of this guy may cause changes in the center of the void. The mysterious resistance of the endless river, the ancient parliament, the number of strong men at the beginning of the sky, the black robe harvesting monsters coming out of the endless river, the mysterious mastermind, the strong men in countless life nests, and the existence of the fourth level of spiritual power in the spiritual level. And the last weird existence, it's really a huge and chaotic chess game. I really don't know how all this will develop. Lin Yi's eyes flashed with countless thoughts, and he couldn't judge how this chaotic situation of multiple parties would evolve. His eyes looked out of the French window, where there was an endless weird place, and he didn't know where the end was. Under the mysterious twisted zone, there is also the inexplicable abyss of terror, and the bottomless mysterious and strange existences. In the blink of an eye, several void days passed, and a mysterious breath that made the entire void tremble slowly descended. It was a figure that could not be described in words, and he exuded an inexplicable, void-like breath. He seemed infinitely large, and seemed infinitely small. He entered the void silently, but was sensed by everyone. And at the moment of his arrival, strange things happened. All memories related to him were shattered and disappeared in an instant. Only those who stepped into the spiritual level can remember his arrival. But even those who exist at the third level of the mind cannot remember his name. This is a mysterious phenomenon, as if the information of a certain source was cut off. However, while all living beings were affected, only Lin Yi was completely unaffected. When this strange power wanted to affect him, he was directly immune to the true destiny and perseverance. In the end, this power could not act on his mind until it finally disappeared. Lin Yi's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. This power is really strange, it can actually erase one's own existence from other people's minds. This should be a high-level application of some kind of spiritual power. Thinking of this, a hint of thought appeared in his eyes. The return of the number is so silent. It seems that he has also noticed something, so he hid himself. Dong dong dong. There was a knock on the door outside, which instantly attracted Lin Yi's attention. He was very surprised that the Wan Shiwu came to the weird place, and it was the first time he encountered an existence that could knock on the door of the Wan Shiwu. The power of moving black stone slabs is no joke, especially after several reinforcements. It is already the strongest level of weird items. It will directly distort cognition. As long as you can't master the power of the mind, you can't isolate this influence. The existence that has mastered the power of the mind usually does not appear in the weird place. It seems that they are also afraid of some kind of power in the weird place. His eyes saw the person knocking on the door through the French window. It was a person with nothingness all over his body. It seemed that there was only an outline, without any other specific facial features, etc. The moment Lin Yi saw him, he immediately recognized who he was. It was Shu, the strong man born in the beginning of the void. The other party actually found him directly after descending into the void. Lin Yi's heart moved slightly, and he came to the door and opened it. A figure that seemed to be non-existent stood quietly in front of the door. Seeing Lin Yi open the door, a friendly thought came to mind. "Hello, Mr. Lin from the Wanchaiwu. I am Shu." Thank you for your help. I can return to the void area again. Lin Yi smiled slightly. Let's talk now. It's not a place to talk outside. The figure of nothingness walked in boldly. He had a human-like appearance, and other than that, it was nothingness. Lin Yi closed the door, and the two sat in front of the French window. Lin Yi said, "Congratulations on getting out of trouble. Thank you for your help. So now, what do you want to do with me? I want to know what happened during the time I was sealed. I'm not sure if you ask me. It's just some speculations. If you are interested, you can listen." Shu seemed very interested. "Please go ahead." Lin Yi smiled. "Information is not for nothing. Everything has to be paid for with me." "What do you want?" Shu asked calmly. "I know most of your cognition, but there is some special information that you don't want to tell me, so let's be fair. I'll tell you some of my inferences, and you have to combine my inferences and tell me your thoughts clearly. Maybe we can infer what happened." Shu nodded after hearing Lin Yi's proposal. "This suggestion is good, I can accept it." Lin Yi nodded. "According to all the information I have obtained so far, my speculation is this. In the distant past, when Kong was born, you and your companions were also born. After going through a period of changes, you had differences in order to pursue a higher path. And you were lured to an inexplicable place and trapped, and you can no longer participate in the entire change of space. And the existence that was born at the same time as you started another plan. They allowed life to be born from the original state, and then these lives evolved the original state into the world. These beings then gave rise to countless minds, which exist at the spiritual level. Slowly, some life forms entered the spiritual level, found their own souls, and completed the unity of life. Then, they began to devour the souls of other beings, constantly strengthening themselves and improving their control over the soul. And in the sky, countless nests of life are flourishing. Trillions of countless life forms have been born, and every nest of life has a creator. After developing for countless years, the accumulated psychic power of these life nests has reached its limit. Then, your companions created an endless river that can run through the entire area where Sara is. Then, a reaper wearing black robes walked out of the river. They cannot be killed, nor will they be destroyed. They harvest the hearts of all. And through some means, the soul finally reaches where your companions are and becomes their food. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1054. The latest chapter of the Wanchai Wu I Created is updated the fastest. The harvested soul is only the purest soul, and the impurities in the soul are precipitated in the air. After a long harvest, all the life nests were harvested for the first time, including those strong people who entered the soul level. Of course, they have also experienced countless resistances, but they all failed. Finally, the first harvest was completed and all life was destroyed. But in this process, whether anyone survived by chance, I don't know. But it is not impossible to leave some information. And in the following time, this kind of thing happened countless times. Then the weirdness appeared. US companions also encountered opponents. During the conflict, there should be some very smart strong people who seized the opportunity and survived by chance in some way. And some of them rushed into the endless river and established a mysterious organization called the Resistance. They seem to have blocked a large number of harvesters, and now they are praying for reinforcements to support them. And this process has continued until now. This is my guess about the whole incident, then as an existence born in the beginning of the sky. Do you think all this is the work of your companions? Lin Yi looked at Shu in front of him calmly, waiting for his answer. After hearing Lin Yi's guess, Shu fell into an inexplicable calmness. He seemed to be thinking about what happened in this extremely long history. After a long while, he slowly said, "I don't think these things were done by my companions." "Why? Are you so sure?" Shu looked at Lin Yi calmly, because although we have different paths, but they never thought of killing me, they just led me away and trapped me in one place. And we have experienced too many changes since we were born, and I understand their nature very well. Each of them is full of kindness, and no one will gain power through killing. Because all of us who were born and existed at the beginning of the void have an essence. We respect the existence of life from the bottom of our hearts. Life is the greatest miracle of all, a miracle that should not have appeared. So I am skeptical about your guess. The mastermind behind all this must not be my companion. Listening to Shu's affirmative answer, Lin Yi was a little stunned, which was a little beyond his expectations. An answer that contradicted all the information he had received. The other party's will was firm and heavy, and it was obviously a thought-provoking answer. In the other party's memory, his companion should be such an existence, but the reality is completely different from what he said. Lin Yi thought for a moment and said, "There is another possibility. Have your companions changed? You should know that any life is likely to change, because the more things and changes they encounter, the more likely they are to distort their original selves. Everything in the world will change, and there is never anything that remains unchanged." Shu fell into silence. "What you said makes sense. They may change. But I don't think they will change their respect for life. So I want to enter the endless river, I want to find these mysterious resistors and find out what is going on. As personal participants, they must know more about what happened than us." Hearing this, Lin Yi was slightly stunned. Then he smiled and wished you a safe journey. Shu slowly got up, opened the door of the Wanchaiwu, and left here in a flash. Left the strange place silently. Lin Yi looked at the direction where he disappeared, with a hint of surprise in his eyes. This number, his spiritual power seems to have surpassed ordinary spiritual power, even the golden eyes I encountered at the spiritual level cannot compare to it. And there is an unknown power lurking in him. This power is a bit mysterious, I am afraid it is a power unique to their existence. He looked at the void, where a huge explosion occurred, and a terrifying wave spread to the entire void. A huge cave appeared out of thin air above the endless river, and a figure seemed to walk into it and disappeared. Lin Yi saw the disappearing figure, his eyes narrowed slightly, that was clearly a number. At this time, each life nest was also undergoing wonderful changes. One legion after another cooperated with the power emitted by the creator of the life nest to capture one black robe monster after another. Sent them to the place where the creators were conducting special experiments. I saw that their spiritual power wove some special runes, covering these mysterious reapers. Then, these reapers began to merge with each other and turned into a huge group of aggregates. Under the restraint of the power of the mind, they eventually turned into one strange shuttle-shaped spaceship after another. This scene surprised Lin Yi a little. This was the message from the resistance organization at the end of the endless river, which was transmitted across countless coordinates. Use these harvesters to build a spaceship that crosses the endless river. However, although the spaceship was built, the creator of the life nest did not enter the endless river. Because they found another way, a large number of harvesters were captured and then bound by the power of mind weaving. They seemed to be built into huge fortresses. At the same time, a huge thought spread to the entire void. Only those whose minds have reached the third level are qualified to receive this message. All the masters of the third level mind level life nests listen. After 7 days of virtual control, a live conference will be held on the endless river. I hope everyone can participate and discuss the future way out. On behalf of 387 Masters of Life Nests, I invite you all. Lin Yi also received this mysterious message, and a hint of understanding appeared in his eyes. Sure enough, the masters of these life nests can't sit still anymore and have already started to contact each other secretly. Now there are probably a lot of small organizations, and one of them is planning to come out to preside over the whole thing. It seems that a large alliance like the Hope Alliance will be formed, and all the organizational structures are similar. When the power is equal, the parliamentary system is the most suitable alliance system. Almost all the strong men thought of this possibility, and the life nests that are fighting each other now feel a pressure. This pressure comes from the endless river and the information released to them by Lin Yi. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1055. The latest chapter of the Wanchaiwu I Created is updated the fastest. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow dot. And the mysterious number who returned, I don't know what means were used to erase their memories of their names. All the signs made them feel a little uneasy, so they needed to gather together and gather more strength to gain a sense of security. In view of the current dangerous situation, they would take such actions. Lin Yi naturally understood it, and there was a hint of expectation in his eyes. I wonder what you will do next. A few void days passed in a blink of an eye, and a huge golden palace appeared on the endless river. Endless golden light burst down from the palace. This palace is located in the center of the endless river across the void, and the golden light sprinkled on it dispersed all the acquirers in this area. As long as those harvesters approach here, they seem to be shattered instantly without any reaction time. A harvester, purely in terms of strength, is only a few dozen or 100 times the strength of a celestial immortal. However, their mysterious power can ignore all attacks that are not spiritual power, which is very dangerous. The attacks of ordinary strong men have no effect on them. If the soldiers of each life nest want to deal with this kind of harvester, they must bless the spiritual power of the creators of the life nest. The golden light of the golden palace in front of us is composed of countless spiritual powers. Through various methods, a series of wonderful projections have come here across countless distances. After these figures came here, they directly entered the golden palace. The palace is another time and space, with chairs surrounding it, like an infinitely tall parliament hall, with a huge platform in the middle. After the figures came here, they immediately sensed their position and flashed to the seats in the stands. At this time, outside the golden palace, countless lights came from all directions, and they were simply countless at a glance. A figure entered the palace and sat in his seat. Soon, the chairs in the palace seemed to be full of people. A majestic aura flickered in it. Although it was just a projection, it still exuded a powerful aura fluctuation. At this time, Lin Yi also came here, and next to him was the president. At this time, the president was shining with a wonderful spiritual power, which made Lin Yi look sideways. It's amazing. He actually completed the third level of spiritual cultivation in such a short time. It is worthy of being the first existence in the history of the void to step into eternity by relying on his own power. Once he bursts out, he is simply irresistible. Lin Yi was also surprised that the president could step into the third level of the mind so quickly. Because entering the third level requires 9 eternal properties, it is not known whether the president has taken this path. The president looked at Lin Yi and nodded slightly. Mr. Lin, as expected, you also received an invitation. Lin Yi smiled faintly. Didn't you too? The two smiled at each other, sat quietly in their seats, and looked around. The entire palace was under their gaze, and with their thoughts, they instantly knew how many chairs there were in the entire palace. There are 99.9 billion seats in total, representing 99.9 billion different life nests and 99.9 billion powerful people at the third level of the mind. At this time, the countless seats have been taken, and each seat represents a person at the third level of the mind. Looking around, almost no one is below this level. Lin Yi and the president looked at each other, and a trace of thought flowed out of their eyes. It seems that only those who have reached the third level of the mind are qualified to participate in this meeting. According to our observation, there are probably more than these number of life nests in the new void. It seems that there are quite a few life nests, and there are no powerful people with the third level of mental power among them. Lin Yi looked at the scene and thought, if this is the case, this meeting will probably be very bloody. The president's eyes were very calm. After all, it is the law of the jungle, and it will never change. At this moment, there was a huge platform in the center of the palace. This platform was in everyone's sight, and at this moment, a figure appeared on it. The moment this figure appeared, all the creators present felt awe in their hearts. Because the other party was filled with an extremely powerful aura, even seeming to surpass the third level of the mind. Many people have seen this kind of power. At the spiritual level, when Lin Yi released a number of information, he once attracted a mysterious attacker. The power used by the other party is extremely similar to the power of this existence now. The man on the platform was shrouded in a white robe. His body shape was similar to that of a human, but the whole person was a ball of golden light, as if he was made of light. This light is his power, and he seems to be completely spiritual power itself. Watching him appear, everyone seemed to see the direction to a higher level of spiritual power. But it seemed that nothing was seen, full of confusion. The next moment, a faint thought came to everyone's mind. Welcome everyone, I am one of the organizers of this meeting, Huang. On the fourth level of the soul, it is also the level of ultimate psychic power. Then without further ado, let's get straight to the point. Currently, according to the investigation by me and my companions, the number of mutual integrations of life nests has been 1,897 times so far. And in the 1,837 times before us, almost all the nests of life ended in the annihilation of the entire army. Only a few strong ones have escaped the fate of being harvested. And between 1838 and 1896, some great and powerful people appeared in the fused void of life. They found the power to subdue the reapers, and then built the endless fortress, which blocked the endless river. 99% of the reapers are blocked upstream. And between 1838 and 1896 times, the beings who have stepped into the third level of the soul gathered at the front line fortress to block the reapers. But in the perennial war, the life nest needs to continuously transfuse blood to the front line and provide a large number of high-quality souls. At the same time, we have to resist the reapers slipping through the net and the weird invasion. In the end, they all perished due to continuous consumption. Only the strong men fighting in the endless fortress are left. Every time the nest of life is reborn, it is the most difficult time for the fortress. And now the fortress on the front line has been stretched to its limit. If we don't provide support, more reapers will come. Of course, this is something we found through some means, but it doesn't mean it is true. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1056. The latest chapter of the Wanchai I Created is updated the fastest. If all this is true, then our life nest will also be heading towards death and destruction. The purpose of my hosting this meeting is to gather everyone and establish an offensive and defensive alliance. Everything is to survive in the future crisis. The Emperor opened his mouth with explosive news, which immediately detonated the whole audience. All those who can come here are powerful people at the third level of the spiritual level. None of them are fools and have lived for a long time. But the other party's news is really too shocking. Although they cannot be 100% sure whether the news is true or false, the content has made them feel fear and shock. This news means that existences like them have appeared 1,897 times. So many powerful existences in front of them were almost destroyed. They know very well what this means. A sword of death has chosen their heads, and it may pour down at any time. At that time, they are also destined to die. All the strong men are shocked in their hearts, weighing them down. At this time, Huang said slowly, the existence of the endless fortress has proved one thing. We have a chance to survive a crisis of inevitable destruction. It's just that this process will be very difficult. But as long as you are alive, there is a chance. I have entered the fourth level of the mind. After this level, I know a lot of things. This is a very mysterious realm. It is not easy to reach this realm. It requires a lot of spiritual power as support. Hearing Huang explaining the fourth level of spiritual power, all the strong men in the palace were attracted to it. So I propose a suggestion that all the strong men who are attending the meeting today harvest and control all the life nests. Integrate all the life nests into one and build an extremely huge life land. Produce an endless supply of souls for us, and then we will organize a team to go to the endless fortress to deal with the attacks of the harvesters. With a stable rear base that provides an endless supply of souls, we are more likely to survive this crisis. Moreover, as we use more and more souls, we may have more opportunities to break through the fourth level of ultimate soul power in the war. Reach a higher level, truly transcend, find the mastermind behind the scenes, and end this darkness that has lasted for countless ages. The emperor's words were thrilling and full of endless blood, and at the same time let everyone see how the road ahead should be taken. And throughout the process, everyone will get huge benefits. Of course there will be certain problems. As for the problem, naturally, with an organization, there will be rules, and with rules, everything will not be so free and undisciplined. Many people are keenly aware of the problems here, but there is not much room for choice in the current situation. Unless everyone who comes here refuses, this will be a trend that no one can resist. Wang's voice continued to sound, merge all the life nests and build a grand unified civilization. We will be the gods of the entire civilization, respected by all creatures of the grand unified civilization. We protect them from the invasion of harvesters and weirdness, and they pay a certain number of hearts. In the long run, the grand unified civilization will continue to expand and grow, and our power will become stronger and stronger. We must break the tragic results of the previous 1896 times, find out the black hands behind the scenes, and open up our own future. Wang's words were sonorous and powerful, and he sincerely described his plan. Just as he said, everyone will benefit, and they will no longer fight alone. The strong men who have existed around for countless years, each of them understands how powerful the collective power is. Especially when the power of the individual is no longer invincible, the power of the collective will subvert everything. Looking at all the silent masters, the emperor's voice slowly sounded, then let's vote and decide. Those who are willing to join can stay, and those who are unwilling to join can leave. But when we meet again, we will meet in battle, and the battlefield will be ruthless. This sentence was said coldly and ruthlessly, without any emotion. Everyone could feel the killing in it, but no one was disgusted, but thought it was justified. The result of the vote was very smooth, almost everyone stayed, only Lin Yi chose to leave. At this time, Lin Yi slowly stood up from his position, took a step out and walked towards the exit of the palace. One after another, eyes fell on him, and the people here included the machine, the back of history, and even the ancient gods who were originally in the void. Everyone's eyes were looking at Lin Yi's disappearing back, revealing various expressions. The emperor's eyes also saw Lin Yi, and he had recognized that this person was the one who took the attack of the ultimate spiritual master of the fourth level at the spiritual level. There was also a trace of solemnity in his eyes. In Lin Yi, he saw something different from the power of the soul. This is something that only people at his level can perceive. A state that is circulated in legends, the only one. Legend has it that this is the state of ultimate power, but no one has ever truly reached it. No, or rather, there are some strange rumors that in every life nest, some strange items will be randomly generated. It is said that these items are left by the only existence. In the process of more than 1,800 life nests merging and destruction, it seems that the only existence has appeared. Because they have appeared, these things are left behind, transcending this cage-like place. There is a legend that these things seem to contain secrets, becoming the only secret, transcending the secrets here. But he has also taken these items, and at his level, he can naturally see the essence of these things. They are just the ultimate power products of the fourth layer, and are beings of the same level as him. Things left behind in order to be resurrected or descended at some point in the future. He has also done this before, leaving a glimmer of hope. However, among these countless things, he was fortunate enough to see a special item. That thing broke his cognition, because it was indeed a power beyond his understanding. Which power has a characteristic, that is, there is no solution. The thing he saw at the beginning was a black token, and that token did not seem to have any other function. But it has a characteristic, and this characteristic has shocked him for countless years. That is, it cannot be touched. No matter what kind of eternal nature or spiritual power, it cannot touch that token. It seems to exist at an untouchable level. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1057. Since he found the token, it has been there and has never moved. It was not until then that he believed in one thing, that the only thing might really exist. Although this is the information that all the strong people who have entered the spiritual level will receive in the dark, there has never been any evidence. And everyone has an idea in their hearts that this information may be a trap. But now, Huang saw a glimmer of possibility from Lin Yi. Not only him, but also some powerful creators have seen the difference in Lin Yi. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. But no one said anything to stop him from leaving, everyone had their own little calculations. In addition, everyone who came to this meeting was just a projection, not in person, so naturally no one paid attention. The reason why Lin Yi left without hesitation was very simple. In his eyes, these people were pure evil, and there was actually not much difference between them and the black hands behind the scenes. If they were in the position of the mastermind, they would do the same. Therefore, no matter who wins or loses between them and the mastermind, it is just a dog-eat-dog fight. In addition, he already has a spy here, and if there is any special news, he will know it first. Lin Yi's projection left here and disappeared in a blink of an eye. Lin Yi's third clone in the Wanchai was slowly opened his eyes, with a trace of solemnity in his eyes. Now we just have to wait and see how this void will change. In the blink of an eye, several void days passed, and a huge change began. One after another life nest in the void exuded magnificent brilliance. These brilliances were connected to the powerful rules that permeated the void, and the entire void seemed to be mobilized. Countless life nests began to move towards the center of the void. As these life voids approached the center, the life nests themselves were also merging. This process was not slow, and it could even be said to be very fast. The original life nests were changing, and the civilization above seemed to have been prepared for it. Huge worlds, continents, islands, and even oceans float in the void. Countless civilizations have left the worlds they originally lived in, riding on various powerful war weapons, floating in the void, and following the life nests. Countless rules in the void are shrouded in these life nests and war weapons, allowing them to converge towards the center at an unimaginable speed. Finally, the first piece of life void collided in the center. It was originally a restricted area of the void, but at this time a golden palace also flew out of the restricted area, avoiding it far away. The ancient gods obviously agreed to this plan. Rumble. The collision of countless worlds in the life nests in the center, like an impact that destroyed the world, shook the entire void. All the war fortresses of all civilizations stayed farther outside and did not enter the collision area of the life nests. All the war weapons were shrouded in huge rays of light. Those rays of light represent one after another powerful people, the lowest of which are the third level of the mind. This time, a total of more than 70 billion life nests joined. Originally, there were 99.9 billion strong men attending the meeting, but some of them were 2 in charge of 1 life nest. Some were 3 in charge of 1 life nest, and the final result was that only more than 70 billion life nests actually participated in the fusion. But this is already an extremely large number. This change naturally attracted the attention of the harvesters in the long river of the void. One by one, the harvesters in black robes rushed towards the war fortress floating in the void. They felt that the majestic life was hidden in it, and that was their target for harvesting. However, these creators would not allow these harvesters to rob their fruits. A terrifying spiritual light flashed, mobilizing the rules in the void to sweep these locust-like harvesters. A piece of regular light flashed, and the harvesters exploded directly, turning into countless black smoke. These black smokes quickly returned to the endless river, but they would be born again after a while. They are densely packed, endless, and it seems that they will never be cleared out. However, there are still some that are bound and captured by the creators. In the center of the void, terrible changes are constantly happening. Countless rules collide and merge, and then form a new balance. Something seems to be gestating inside, something extremely huge. New life nests rush into it every moment. At this time, a life nest composed entirely of the ocean world began to completely disintegrate the moment it approached the chaotic area. The ocean world collapsed in an instant and turned into pure particles and merged into it. A complete life nest was simply swallowed up by this chaotic area. It became the nourishment of the huge world bred inside. Everything is proceeding in an orderly manner, and this is destined to be a long-lasting event. And the war has never stopped. The Weird and the harvesters have begun to attack the war fortresses of various civilizations floating in the void. In the Weird land, Lin Yi watched all this quietly. Just then, a note appeared in front of him, and the power of the wish shrine seemed to be activated again. I want to know what happened in the void now. Lin Yi looked at the note, and the content on it surprised him a little. Who is this person? Who are you? I am the creator of the Ejia world. Lin Yi's eyes flickered, and he instantly saw the remaining breath on the note. The power of the second level of the mind, thoughtful. Yes, only the existence of the third level of the mind will participate in this meeting. The creators of the life nests on the first and second levels don't know anything. They don't know that they have been identified as fruits by these guys. When Lin Yi attended the meeting, he had already seen it. The mysterious emperor divided the creators and the life nests into 2 parts. One part is the partners who can gather together, and the other part is the fruits that must be hunted. These fruits will make him and his partners grow stronger again, and increase the chips to survive this crisis. Looking at the content on this note, Lin Yi showed a faint smile on his face. Those are all the strong men who have reached the third spiritual level in the void, and they are fusing their life nests to create a huge world that has never appeared before. All their civilizations will merge into one, and these strong men will form a huge alliance to survive the coming crisis. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1058. All life nests and civilizations without strong people at the third level of the spiritual level will become victims of hunting. You are naturally among them. At this time, in a distant life nest, the creator here sat high on his throne. Looking at the note in front of him, the content on it made him look gloomy. The content inside was plain but full of blood, making him smell the smell of death. As the creator of the Ejia world, Ling is a very smart guy. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. When the Golden Palace appeared on the Endless River some time ago, he noticed some problems. The powerful auras entering the palace were also concerned by him, and he vaguely noticed something wrong. After thinking about it for a while, his heart was full of doubts and anxiety, and he felt that an invisible danger was looming over him. At this moment, a mysterious note appeared in his eyes. He saw a strange power on the note, and out of curiosity, he wrote down his question on it. But he didn't expect to get an answer, and the answer shocked him. is a huge mysterious existence. Its external body is similar to that of a human, but its head is full of wriggling tentacles. If you look closely, you can find that those tentacles seem to be some kind of creature. He has 9 eyes on his face, and no nose, ears, mouth, etc. He wears a layer of black armor on his huge body, and a black spiritual light shrouds him, making him look like a demon god. He fell into deep thought, and a sentence appeared on the note. "What can you do for me?" The note returned to Lin Yi again, "See what price you can pay." Ling, a trace of solemnity appeared in his eyes, "If these beings who have mastered the 3rd level of spiritual power really start hunting us who have mastered the 2nd level of spiritual power, we are definitely not opponents. Destruction is only a matter of time, so what should I do?" 2 paths, the first is to enter the spiritual level. But the spiritual level is not so easy to go to, and it is not so easy to get out after entering. I can't locate the void at the spiritual level, even my life nest can't help me locate it. At this time, Ling's heart flashed with anxiety, and he understood the cause and effect of everything, and his heart became more and more nervous. The second way, quietly wait for the arrival of death here. This one is impossible. Thinking of this, he made a decision in his heart. I hope you can help me locate the void after I enter the star spirit level. Then help me return to this void again. Looking at the request on the note, Lin Yi's eyes showed a hint of joy. Okay. Then the price I want is that in the future, when I need you to take action, you must do your best for me, and you cannot not take action for any excuse. If you violate the contract, you will face death. The bottom line is that when you are about to face death, you can choose to retreat, but it must be the moment before death. The note disappeared from Lin Yi's face. Looking at the content on it, his brows frowned slightly, and he fell into deep thought. If I don't come back, I will stay in the spiritual level forever. Although I will lose this life nest, I can avoid this monstrous disaster. Just as he was thinking about this, another idea suddenly flashed through his mind. The spiritual level, the terrifying golden eyes that appeared last time, seemed to have a strange origin. It is full of dangers as I calculated. The spiritual level is not that simple. He entered the 2nd level a long time ago. At that time, he already felt that he could enter the spiritual level at any time, but he never tried it. Because he had a hunch that the spiritual level was a very dangerous place. Once he entered, the danger he would face was not small, and he might die if he was not careful. This is why he has delayed until now and has not entered the spiritual level. The mind of the fell into deep thinking, weighing the dangers of the 2 conditions. But no matter which one made her feel a huge risk, but Lin Yi's condition had an advantage. That is, when the crisis really came, he could choose to evacuate, and there would be a lot of room for operation. It would not be a situation of certain death, but the risk was also great. But if he entered the spiritual level and did not have the ability to locate in the void, the risk he encountered would also be very huge. That means that he needs to drift indefinitely on the spiritual level. He may fall into a dead end if he is not careful, and he can't even escape. He has long felt the cruel jungle law of the spiritual level. Once exposed, he will die. After thinking for a long time, he has an answer. I agree to your conditions. Lin Yi's mind moved, and the place for signature appeared on the note. Ling's mind flashed, and his name appeared on the note. The note ignited without wind, and a strange power connected him and Lin Yi. You can go directly to the spiritual level. When you have completed the breakthrough, I will naturally bring you back. Lin Yi's thoughts echoed in Ling's mind directly through the mysterious connection. Ling's 9 eyes narrowed slightly, and the next moment, the majestic spiritual power enveloped his body. Then, he began to transform into a spiritual state, disappeared in the real world in a flash, and entered the spiritual level. Lin Yi's mind also flashed a thought. This is a good way to let more creators at the second level of the spiritual level enter the spiritual level and complete the final breakthrough. Let them all owe me a condition, so in the future, once those guys want to do something to me, they will also suffer the most serious blow. And with their checks and balances, the development of things may be very interesting. Thinking of this, Lin Yi's mind moved, and a strange note appeared in front of the creators of the life nest one after another. These are all creators who have mastered the second level of spiritual power. All of them have never entered the spiritual level to complete the final breakthrough due to various concerns. And now Lin Yi plans to give them a chance. The note clearly stated the same conditions and content as the creators. And what exactly is happening now? Under the crisis of life and death, all creators felt the breath of the storm coming. An invisible great change is spreading throughout the void. No one can avoid this great change, and those who fail are destined to die. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Xuanhuan Luan Tianji. Chapter 1059. There are about 500 billion life nests in the entire void. Among them, more than 70 billion are ruled by creators with the third level of spiritual power. Almost all the rest are at the second level of the spiritual level. Originally, they would perish in this trend. However, Lin Yi's intervention seems to have changed everything, and the trend seems to have been affected. At the spiritual level, there is a mysterious platform here. A figure covered in gold appeared on the platform. The figure sat alone on a throne. His appearance was also human-shaped, and his appearance was very similar to that of humans, but there was a golden vertical eye between his eyebrows. At this time, he slowly opened his eyes. What's going on? The evolution of the trend of the void has changed. Who is interfering? His thoughts slowly reverberated, and the next moment, one picture after another appeared around the platform. The picture showed one creator after another. These creators are all at the second level of the mind, and a strange note appeared in front of them. Seeing this scene, the golden humanoid existence showed a trace of coldness in his eyes. Is it weird? Did they intervene in this general trend? These rubbish finally couldn't bear it anymore. This seems to be one of the powers of the weird source. Things are a bit troublesome. According to the general trend, the void should be completely unified, and at least 3 beings with ultimate spiritual power will be born. Then lead these creators in the void to fight on the front line. But everything has been disturbed, and the plan has also been affected. This general trend may change. This is troublesome. This is a plan that has been set countless times, and there must be no problems. The golden humanoid existence had a flash of thinking in his eyes, and terrifying thoughts were echoing. Thinking of the task given to him by them, this mysterious existence was a little restless. Then let me see where the source is. I hope it is not the most essential source of weirdness, otherwise it will be a big trouble. The mysterious existence seemed to have thought of something, and his eyes became colder. The third eye in his eyes slowly opened, and a boundless and terrifying spiritual power flickered in it. An invisible light seemed to penetrate the spiritual level and looked far below. A life nest entered his eyes, and he saw the note in front of the creator of this life nest. Then he looked at the power of the note and began to trace its source. Soon his eyes followed this power, penetrated the strange sea in the lower part of the void, and saw a huge strange land. Finally, it fell on a strange grassland, where there was an independent house, quietly sitting there. When seeing this room, Lin Yi in the Wanchaiwu also noticed it. He felt a prying gaze, and in an instant the power of the true destiny Wujiang and the true destiny Hangzin burst out. Directly covered the entire Wanchaiwu, and at the same time the power of the true destiny Daija was activated. He looked up at the sky, and a gaze appeared in his eyes. 2 majestic and boundless gazes collided in the void, and Lin Yi and the mysterious golden figure were slightly shaken. A faint sneer appeared on the corner of Lin Yi's mouth. He recognized this look. This was the mysterious eye that stopped him the last time he distributed the information of the endless river front to countless creatures at the spiritual level. This time, the other party seemed to have found his true body directly through the power of the strange note. However, this look was cut off by his true destiny solution and could no longer lock on himself. As his spiritual waves became stronger and stronger, the scope of the true destiny could be covered, and the effect produced became more and more profound. Just like the true destiny solution, it can observe everything, and at the same time, it has an extremely terrifying suppression ability for things of similar nature. Any look will be interrupted by her eyes, and nothing can escape. At the spiritual level, the mysterious golden figure showed a hint of coldness in his eyes. Damn it, it's him again. It seems that we need to find a way to get rid of this guy. He seems to be a variable in the void. A variable that affects the overall situation. His power is too weird. There seems to be a trace of the Great Ones. Thinking of this, a hint of coldness appeared in his eyes. Then let you try it. On the endless river, in the huge palace, all the creators who have mastered the third level of spiritual power gathered here. They are always paying attention to the progress of the entire big plan. At the same time, the civilizations they control are also gathering in the void, running in, and forming a larger and more orderly civilization. Through the battle with the harvesters, they constantly condense and get familiar with each other, and finally complete the running in between the systems. They are not ordinary life forms, and they have absolute control over the civilizations under their command. At the same time, they also have a huge computing power that surpasses everything, so all problems caused by the fusion of civilizations will be quickly solved by them. Relying on their absolute control. This efficiency is completely unmatched by the civilization composed of ordinary life, that is a world of difference. At this moment, in the war fortress where the Emperor's civilization was located, a majestic golden light rose from here. He is the orthodox coordinator of the power and eternal nature of all other creators, and is presiding over the fusion and evolution of the life nest. At this time, an invisible illusory figure appeared in front of him. The moment the Emperor saw this person, a trace of surprise appeared in his eyes. Why are you here? Now is a very urgent time. Don't let them find you. The visitor was the mysterious three-eyed existence, and his thoughts echoed in the Emperor's mind. Executor, now the general trend of the void has changed. There are huge variables, which interfere with the general trend this time, and it is very likely that your execution plan will fail. The Emperor, known as the Executor, seems to have a mysterious connection between the two. Monitor, what did you find? A piece of information flowed into the mind of the Executor Emperor out of thin air. Find a way to deal with this person. He has established a connection with the mysterious ancients, and also possesses the power of the weird essence, and a power similar to them. His existence will interfere with the plans of the Great Ones. If you want the plan to proceed smoothly, you must get rid of him. The Executor Emperor felt the information in his mind, and his face suddenly became solemn. I understand. You have to cooperate with me and be ready to wake up the law enforcers at any time. We must maintain the smooth operation of the entire plan. This is our only chance and we must not lose it. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1060. Their plan cannot be challenged. We finally got the chance. We will never allow anyone to destroy our life. The monitor nodded. I understand. Everything is for hope. I will prepare to wake up the law enforcers. After completing the fusion of the life nests, I will provoke them to take action. The monitor's figure disappeared in a flash, leaving only the mysterious Executor Huang, who fell into deep thought, his face changing. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward arrow. The fusion of the life nests is still going on. There are countless life nests approaching outside at all times, and then they are swallowed up by the huge world they are nurturing. One civilization after another is constantly running in, resisting the attacks of the harvesters, and everything seems to be on the right track. At this time, a message from Huang alarmed all the creators of the Life Alliance. Now the alliance they formed is called the Life Alliance, representing all the life nests. All creators are part of this alliance. I have monitored the latest news. Lin Yi from the Wanchaiwu is contacting the creators of the life nests of the Non-Life Alliance, trying to establish a new organization to interrupt our rule over all life nests. And a large number of creators have already joined. In the huge palace on the endless river, the projections of the creators of each life nest showed a solemn look. The projection of the emperor was also here, and he just raised his hand and waved. A huge phantom appeared in the golden palace. There was a world shrouded in strange power, and there was a dead silence everywhere. There was only an isolated building standing on the huge plain, so strange and unpredictable. The emperor's voice slowly sounded, "I have found out that this person has hidden in a strange place. Now we have to find a way to get rid of him. We can't let him continue to contact the creators of those life nests. This is to seize our fruits. We must not allow it. Otherwise, our goal of unifying all life nests will be affected. Now, according to the meeting charter of the Life Alliance, start to unify opinions." The emperor's thoughts are magnificent, countless thoughts quickly condensed in the palace, and finally evolved into 3 different thoughts. The first thought torrent is to eliminate Lin Yi's existence, the second thought torrent is to send out a message of recruitment, and the third is to wait and see. The emperor's thoughts are brilliant and vast, showing the breadth of the ultimate spiritual power of the 4th level. This breadth shocked everyone, although there were 90 billion strong men who mastered the 3rd level of spiritual power on the scene. But facing the ultimate power of the 4th level of the soul, everyone still felt a huge fear, that is the fear from the heart. It seems that in front of this power, they are like a mantis trying to stop a car. A sense of panic enveloped everyone's mind. As the leader of the Life Alliance, I exercise one vote of power. Gather everyone's power and destroy Lin Yi of the Wanchaiwu, even if he lives in a strange place. As his thoughts came to mind, the torrent of thoughts in the palace merged into one and merged into his thoughts. Then, the entire void shook, and more than 90 billion terrifying rule lights gathered in the void. This is a power that can subvert everything. The spiritual light that is so huge that it is unimaginable instantly tore through the void and directly reached the strange sea at the bottom of the void. An infinite light blasted into the strange sea, and the infinite strange existence was instantly evaporated. The strange essence was also exhausted by the majestic 3rd level spiritual power at the same time. The light tore through layer after layer of unknown time and space or constraints, and arrived above a huge continent. The surging power tore through everything, fell from the sky, and enveloped a huge building. At this time, Lin Ziren also noticed this terrifying spiritual light that fell from the sky. This is a spiritual power that can make everything come true, coming from the size of the top 20% of the strongest in the void. In front of this power, even if one has mastered the ultimate spiritual power of the 4th level, he will be beaten to ashes. But at this time, the glory of the boundless and constant true destiny has enveloped the entire Wanchaiwu. Let this step of glory completely cover it. The power that can destroy everything cannot affect the Wanchaiwu, and is blocked by the true destiny. Lin Yi's eyes are solemn. He knows that it was the eye contact with the unknown existence just now that exposed his traces. At this time, the power of moving the black stone slab has been activated. Instantly connected to the strange land, the next moment, the true destiny shone brightly, and the Wanchaiwu suddenly disappeared in the terrifying spiritual light. When it appeared again, it had entered a strange and distorted world. This is where the president once sent him, the suspected source of the strange land. The huge plain where he was originally located is also undergoing earth-shaking changes. Infinite strange power is gathering from all directions. Evolved into endless terrifying tentacles, or strange hurricane rocks, or other natural phenomena, shrouded in the magnificent spiritual light. This extremely terrifying spiritual light, facing the continuous attack of the strange power, quickly exploded one after another between the two. Countless attacks, almost without any stop, this area has become a twisted black hole. The black hole is constantly expanding, destroying this strange land. At the same time, above the endless river, the emperor in the golden palace opened his eyes. Two infinite rays of light traveled through time and space, saw through all the constraints, and fell into a strange world. His eyes were following Lin Yi's traces, but at this time, Lin Yi had fully opened true destiny, and perseverance. Even if these two eyes were following the notes in the hands of some of the creators of the life nest, they could not find any trace of the house of everything. At this time, the Wanchaiwu house seemed to not exist in this world. No matter how hard these two eyes searched, there was no trace of it. In the strange place, the 90 billion rules in the void and the attacks controlled by the power of the mind seemed to have angered the strange place. A deep, unimaginable darkness spread out from the depths of the strange place. It was a huge arm that could not be described in words, and the arm was densely covered with strange beings one after another. These weird existences, even the weakest one, possess terrifying fluctuations that rival the third level of psychic power. And this arm is so huge that it can crush countless worlds with one palm. Each figure on this palm is densely packed, and compared to the entire arm, it is not even as good as a single hair. The unimaginably terrifying giant hand instantly grasped the terrifying spiritual radiance, as if it had grasped the entity.